Megatrends as a topic this time. This is something which I have been following, practicing over almost 2 decades now, almost. And this is a specific line of studies where you try to look at few years ahead, beyond where data can suggest. And so mega opportunity sounds like current election campaign. But I'll try to be slightly more megatrends oriented rather than election oriented.
Make everything great again.
India shining again. Okay. Alright, so most of the people here know about Union Labs, but so I'll probably skip this part. So megatrends are in fact a line of future studies as a domain. And we look at large scale paradigm shifts which are happening in society across business, technology or society, which will affect the way we make our decisions. So decisions of what we purchase, how we purchase, to what kind of political parties we support, or what kind of decisions a nation takes, all that. So these are mega trends, and when we practice, we call them like 2 kinds of trends. One's hard trends and soft trends. It's our internal terminology. Hard trends are probably which are more data-driven trends, and there is already a predictability in terms of data. So if you have past data and there is natural growth happening, you can predict that. Okay, fossil fuels will expire by X date. Okay, or you have, let's say, this is per capita income of India and China and world average. So we know that, okay, 2022 our per capita income is way below the world average. We are $2,500 per person per year, compared to what China is around $12,000. So it's already 5-6 times our average. And we'll become a middle income economy by 2047. We'll reach $15,000 per person by enough number of years. Lot of hard work. That is why Narayana Murthy says 70 hours. But there are also softer trends, which are more behavioral, societal trends. So both are important, because sometimes hard data can ignore some of the softer things which are moving around. So for example, simple things like a lot of women recently came in the, this is an old example but I use it often. A lot of women came into the business and political domain, world forums. Suddenly we saw a rise of women-centric movies, right? A lot of women-centric movies. In India right now, women's participation in workforce, the formal workforce is only 25% or something like that, which is low. But result of this is that a lot of women-centric policies, products, and even fashion starts changing. Men start wearing clothes like women. Okay, so that androgyny as a fashion trend is a reflection of this phenomena in the society. So these are kind of called social, and what these soft trends are actually the origin of all the ramp walks you see, that every time they bring in new fashion, or you say market में ये नया आया है या ये नया color है for designers, some of your designers, Pantone का ये shade है नया this year. All this is a gift of this kind of softer trend studies. So one can, with some amount of study, one can predict these kind of trends. So companies like us, we can predict what kind of interior colors will come in next year. So Asian Paints, for example, forecasts color next year, क्या नया color range होगा. So we can make use of such phenomena, study this, and if last year the color was, let's say green, forest green, so this year it will be teal because more women have come into picture. slight shift will happen towards more feminine color. That is a softer trend. Okay. So let's get into trends. So these are trends which I have right now picked up 4 or 5 changes. You're smiling at the word.
Yeah.
You know this word? No? You know the word?
In Gen Z slang, it means delusional.
Okay, thank you.
I get that.
Okay, so I picked up, but my son, also a Gen Z, says I don't know this word. You know? Okay, so this is Gen Z terminology from TikTok, which says being delusional or being so hopeful to almost sound delusional, which is this status of the India 2030 right now. Almost sounds delusional. So our GDP right now is this much. US is 25 trillion. We are at 3.5 trillion. We'll be jumping these guns and going probably by 2030 to third spot. Now anybody's guess it'll be 10 trillion or 7 trillion. There are different projections. And I saw Lowy Institute and they are saying 17 trillion. Whatever. But that's the status right now. I'll skip this.
Kevin, let me start with you.
So 4 or 5 trends I've taken, which are hard and soft mix, and we'll see. And it's also some part is our own synthesis. And right now, experts are also sitting in the group, in the small intimate group. So please correct me if my data goes wrong somewhere. So first trend right now, which is going in, is defragmentation, which I call it defragmentation, picked up from the computer drive. Defragmentation, what happens is that your storage is getting clogged. So you have to rearrange it. Okay. So rearrange to create more space. That's defragmentation. First of all, the fragmentation has happened. It's been happening. Why fragmentation has been happening? Because we see on multiple counts fragmentation has been happening. One is that whatever globalization which has been taking place in the world, so there is some institute which maps the amount of trade openness which is there in the world. That has been reducing constantly from 2005 downwards. The number of interactions countries have, trade exchanges countries have, is reducing. So deglobalization is happening, and because of deglobalization, the interactions are reducing. The sentiment of nationalism is increasing, which we know now very well, and not just in India, but everywhere else. If you see Meloni's statements right now, or the Dutch Prime Minister's statements. Argentina also, and people have come and gone, Bolsonaro and all those. So a lot of nationalism sentiments are there. This is some Turkey people say that 8 out of 10 people would not want their daughter to marry someone who votes for the party they dislike. 3/4 wouldn't even want to do business with such a person. So it's not just in India; it's pan world right now. There is. Hi, welcome. We've just started. I have taken 2 or 3 trends right now, and the first trend right now I'm discussing is defragmentation. So this is right now we are undergoing first fragmentation and then realignment is happening, and these multiple forces, kind of US university discussion happening around the entire Palestine issue. We probably know the anti-Semitism and Palestine make it. And we see the reflection in movies also in India right now. Suddenly there's a flurry of nationalistic movies. So that's the sentiment. So basically megatrends are like a big color falling on us, coloring the society in certain way. And multiple colors are falling and coloring different sections, different mindsets in different ways. So you see suddenly there's a nationalistic sentiment building up and movies doing multi-million-dollar business. So now we probably also see the flavor of elections. What could it be? for 2024 somewhere. But realignment is also happening in terms of de-dollarization of the world, because a lot of countries right now have decided to go away from the dollar transactions, which is de facto transactions, and India is also signing up rupee ruble trade, and BRICS Bank is coming up. They want to do transactions on their own. ASEAN currency is coming up, and in terms of they want to do their own treatment, interoperable payments. So this de-dollarization is also, the previous order is shifting. China, by the way, had pitched in a lot of money through the Belt and Road Initiative. So all these countries where you see red is where China has invested money. Okay, soft loans, soft power. If you see, all the rich mineral belt is right now owned by China, literally. All the cobalt mines of Congo, Shango, all of it. So much so that if you see here, the rare earth mining, what used to happen, all the nickel, cobalt, lithium, all this kind of rich, the rare earth minerals, till 2010, 95% of the rare earths were controlled by China. Okay. Now in 2020 onwards, some more US has found some stores, and some rest of the world. India has also found some in Kashmir, lithium mines and all that. Still 70% of all that, whatever we call electric vehicle, EV revolution, is heavily dependent on China right now. If China cuts this off, I mean, all that EV we are talking of will be standstill, literally. So the realignment is happening in the world is to get away from the monopolistic control of these rare earth elements. One. And by the way, we are talking of Megatrend right now. China had started controlling this from late 90s, these kind of mines and soft loans and all that. So now, if you have heard of the India, Middle East, East Europe Economic Corridor, have you heard of? Yeah, I'm sure. This side, guys? No? Okay, India is planning a trade corridor to counter the Silk Road or the Belt and Road Initiative, which connects China to the Europe, or ancient China dream to control the world trade. India is planning a new trade route which will go from Mumbai to Dubai or Jebel Ali in UAE. There will be sea route, and then there will be a train, or from this to another port, and then from inside Saudi Arabia it will go by a train. The same thing will be offloaded, go by train, pass through Israel, and then go by sea again. This kind of 3-step travel. Okay, and that's where some talk of there will be a underwater train route, tunnel, and this is coming up. And that is why you see that Saudi Arabia started talking to Israel. Handshaking happened. This was part of the entire discussion, which upset Hamas. That why are you talking to these guys and shaking hands, and then a lot of ruckus happened. So this corridor was, and that is, so this kind of entire realignment of the world politics is happening. And in this realignment and the deglobalization and the de-dollarization, there's a lot of new possibilities are emerging where India has to play a role, which right now looks like a still silent player. We have not got our voice, but there are a lot of things I think are likely to shift. Already in the G20 and BRICS, India has a voice, but there are more forums which will come up as I see, because of the realignment of the world is getting defragmented. On a more tangible level, forget about the political level, more tangible level we see is that rise of these new forums which are away from the you can say the traditional national or nation-oriented forums like UN is almost defunct. nation to nation talk, instead of that C40 kind of just mayors of the cities are talking about the climate change right now. So this kind of new organizations are coming up, which are taking up global issues. Multi-country citizenships are becoming, because the nations are becoming tighter in their boundaries. EU is talking of Brexit and stuff like this. So now multi-country citizenships are, golden visas are coming up. A lot of visa on arrivals are happening. Estonia and I think in Indonesia is also offering these kind of long stay visas kind of things for digital nomads they call it. Also, because of so much of polarization, some people are fed up. Okay, so they are making their own country in space. It's called Asgardia. Some Russian billionaire, oligarch has started this. That we'll have our own nation and our own constitution. Some 11,000 Indians have also registered on this. Around 1 million people are right now on Asgardia space platform. Space nation, sorry, they call it. So these are more utopian scenarios which are taking place. But the idea is that can we realign if the borders are becoming tighter, near-shoring is happening. So interestingly, the world trade, because of reducing, supposedly no more new ships are getting built, commercial ships in the world right now. Because initially in the top globalization days, 2005, 2015, a lot of ships were built, which are still getting used and capacity is free. So no more ships are getting built because also near-shoring is happening. The world trade is reducing. So ship industry is right now on a slack as of now. So this lot of supply chain shifts are happening in this right now, and that's where the businesses which are moving out of China, we are getting a small trickle. We are not getting a whole lot, some small trickle, but nevertheless, a lot of businesses have shifted. iPhone manufacturing, quarter of iPhone manufacturing is right now in India. A lot of semiconductor things are happening, PLI and all that is happening. But a lot of businesses have gone to Mexico, Vietnam, Bangladesh. We could have gotten much more, but that entire supply chain shift is happening. So that's a lot of role to play. So this is the first part in fragmentation, defragmentation. And I see a lot of opportunities happening, and the new kind of alignment, supply chain, and sort of new forums will come up in the times to come, which are pan nations or pan strong borders. Next trend is right now that what is trending is also middle class. Okay. Now this is our again data centric trend, which are pretty predictable ones. So what is happening is that suddenly there is a boom of middle class in next 7 or 10 years, and 70% of the entire middle class of the world will be focused, will be distributed in Asia. And you can see the numbers, which is half in India and half in China, and some in the rest of the world will be a very small portion. So the next consumption wave which is going to happen in Asia, and India and China will take the bigger chunk of that consumption. So you can see the rise of middle class. So by the time we reach 2050, this will be saturating. We are somewhere here right now. So middle class is expanding in all the, so it's reducing in the US and reducing in EU, but increasing in these countries. So our pyramid, when the Roti Kapda aur Makan slogan came in Indira Gandhi's time, it used to be this pyramid, okay, which was a lot of poor people and very few rich people, and that is where everything could sell through Roti Kapda Makan. Right now, we are saying that from pyramid we are becoming a balloon economy. Our waste is becoming thicker, okay, And thicker is basically the middle class. Now, middle class in India is defined as around 2.5 lakh rupees family income per year onwards is lower middle class, and then goes upwards up to 35 lakh rupees family income. So that's this band. From 150 million households, it will go to become 300 million households. 30 crore household, 30 crore families, 15 crore families से 30 crore family हो जाएगी by 2030. So this will be a huge consumption. 1 in 2 homes will be middle class by 2030. Okay, this is Bain and Company's data, and people may disagree here and there somewhat. So poverty is going to reduce for sure, and interestingly, not just the middle class is increasing, the rich class, families above 30 lakh rupee salary, they are going to become 4 times. Okay, so luxury is also on a boom right now. Luxury in India is infancy, but it is in boom. Elites will more than triple. So where will they spend money? And by the way, all these people are young people. Okay, so this demographic dividend that they say 60% of people are going to be in the 20 to 60 year zone by 2030. Okay, so they are middle class and they have money now, somewhat money, and they are young. So positive and negatives, they'll need jobs, but they'll also have money. Job is a different problem to solve, of course. So this graphic from ET solves, gives a lot of things how India will look there. It also says that our internal consumption, 60% of our GDP will be from the internal consumption itself. जबकि चाइना का 40% ही है, उसका lot of government spending होता है उसमें चाइना में. तो इससे क्या होने वाला है कि स्टॉक प्राइसेस तो बढ़ेंगे ही बढ़ेंगे. ओके, टाटा कंपनी में पैसा डालो और बैठ जाओ till 2030. So whether government does anything or not, as long as it doesn't do severely something wrong, okay, any government comes, just the numbers are going to rise, irrespective. So $2 trillion of incremental spend and 700 million millennial और Gen Z को मिला लेंगे तो 700 million हो जाएंगे, which is 1.4 billion के half है almost. 50% is the population of millennial and Gen Z, जो experience centric, consumption driven economy और digital economy वाले लोग हैं. तो e-commerce boom, ये वो, lot of things will happen. Okay. So this is the consumption part. हमारा जो इकोनॉमी है उसमें if you see, the thing to see here is the private consumption 60% हमारा रहता है, जबकि चाइना में सिर्फ 40% के आसपास है. बट चाइना में जो गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, एंड दी एक्सपोर्ट्स काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, दोनों ज़्यादा है कंपेयर टू कैपिटल फॉर्मेशन वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. सो दैट्स वेयर दे आर स्लाइटली लो साइडेड कंपेयर टू अस. So one of the things which is going to happen because of middle class is also because of increased money is premiumization of things. Okay, and we have already started seeing some early symptoms or early signals of this premiumization happening of the market. Because whatever is the incremental money, for example, people will be, for example, whatever eating, 43% they'll be buying of the same thing, but 25% will be premiumization content. If you eat out, there will be 38% premiumization content. You'll be eating different kind of food and more premium content. Okay, and there'll be.
But that's already happening now. Right?
It's already happening, but it continues. The numbers will just, so it's a trend. So megatrends are not going to change every year. Intensity will rise. We are still on the upswing of this trend. We see a lot of things happening on premiumization. Example which I give is the for example, exotic sauces which you see in shelves right now. The kind of exotic fruits, foods and fruits both have started showing up in the market.
SUV sales, 4-wheelers.
Absolutely, I was coming to it. 51% of the new homes which are coming in Hyderabad are 3 BHKs. Okay, and Chennai and Delhi are also 50%, 47%, something like this. 18 new SUVs are being launched in 2024. And of course, the another rise is D2C market, which is growing at 40% CAGR. That's another premium consumption, exotic. So that is what is happening. The one, so out of this, what will happen is that a lot of cities will become sort of this data says that a lot of premium cities will rise, where number of share of households are more than 40% households will be sort of rich households. Cities by themselves will become bigger than the country economies. Okay, like Delhi will be equivalent to Philippines. So this shows the population, but otherwise in terms of the GDP values, I think 200 billion is what right now Delhi is doing. That time will be around 400 billion or something by 2030. So they'll become cities. By Bangalore will be equal to Slovakia, and Ahmedabad will be equal to Vietnam, and Mumbai equal to Malaysia. San Francisco GDP is around 600 billion. Delhi is right now 200 billion, something like that, just to give you a sense of things. So that's kind of premiumization growth will happen. More example is like there's something called bridge to luxury. So the luxury resale market is growing in India greatly. This is a brand called Retag. They sell this used, pre-loved, pre-used bags and things like this. So Bata had actually sensed this kind of premiumization trend early on, and if you see, Bata doesn't sell any more than 99 rupee wala stuff. It's gone to 2,999 now. Yeah.
I was reading an article yesterday of the second-hand luxury market. It was in yesterday's Economic Times. So second-hand bags, costing almost 18 lakhs
Yeah.
have been sold.
What was the original price?
Same goes with the watches.
We just finished a project with Hermes, the brand, where I think few lakh rupee bags are Hermes brand bag. Owner of which brand, which recently was in news, the owner has gifted the entire multi-billion-dollar inheritance to the gardener. So this is a premiumization thing. So this is one important thing. Apart from premiumization, of course, the one fallout I see is also that because the middle class mindset will remain middle class finally. So, of course, at times we consume premium things, but we would also like to save things. So now if you combine the technology with savings, like LED bulbs, right? It was an excellent technology, new technology. Costs a little more initially, but then gives a long-term saving. Instead of 100-watt bulb, I can do a 10-watt bulb. This kind of smart tech, I think, will be on a boom right now. So the entire smart home idea, because smart home, I'll be able to save things, make them automated. I don't do, if I forget to switch off AC, electric iron, this, that, all that, will pick up in a big way. So that'll become a everyday thing. I think 2-3 years back, Reliance was anyway launching. I don't know where they have gone with that smart home idea, but yeah, with the 5G and smart home will become. I had seen in their showrooms like controlling the heating kettle to be automatically switched off and switched on before I come home. Tea should be ready, kind of things. So those kind of things are pretty much will be in.
It's becoming the new norm now.
Huh? New norm? Yeah. Light on off is now done thing anyways.
It's a done thing anyways.
But next level.
Yeah, next level. Yeah.
So this is the, and also if you see right now next to us in Vishal Nagar we have a Zudio coming up. Zudio is already there. So this is also part of the sort of premium cheap rapid. So it's a Zara's younger brother or younger sister, whatever you call it. Is Zudio, and that's targeted as Gen Z. So middle class Gen Z is the target right now. Okay. So Gen Z shoppers prefer off-price discount retail and speed. So that's what surprisingly Gen Z is equally disposed between the offline retail and the online retail. compared to the millennials. So that's why the omni-channel is the way which is going forward in terms of what you see is video coming up. So this is the second trend, and the third one is called blue economy. Blue economy is a word which is referred to more related to marine economy. Anything related to marine, which is marine energy, marine deep mining, related to aquaculture, fisheries. But this word is now catching fancy, and I have right now taken it a slightly bigger context right now, which is not just marine but everything related to water. Because the next reality we have faced is right now that India is in desperate shortage of water right now. 40% of total population will not have access to drinking water in 2030. Around 22 or 32 large cities don't have enough water right now. 70% of the groundwater is contaminated in some ways because of the whatever we do with earth. Rivers have shrunk. Krishna and Narmada have shrunk 60% of their historical flows. Other rivers are 40-50%, something like that. So our projected demand is around 2x of what we currently consume. So that's also a part of the blue economy. We'll have to probably broaden the definition. Government of India, by the way, has a blue economy policy already in place by 2019. Incidentally, compared to what we think, 70-80% water what we use is for irrigation right now of the water available. Drinking water is a very small percentage that way. So any change which happens here in terms of irrigation techniques or agriculture, smart agriculture coming up, that goes a long way compared to we saving a small glass of water here.
Even the type of crops.
Also, equally.
Sugarcane, rice.
Yeah. So that entire Punjab growing rice has been a big chaos. Punjab was never known for rice cultivation. Rice was a costly crop. They stopped growing the wheat and the other things, and the rice came in picture. So economy took over, and then the rice sucks up. Rice and sugarcane. That's why sugar export is like exporting water almost. So that's where a lot of discussion is happening, and the last part of the trend is also connected to that, which is more contentious issue of GMO. But the good news is that new technologies are also coming up. So I'm also only putting up the rosier picture, Delulu pictures right now, which is new startup which is capturing water from the atmosphere, and 1,000 liters of water this company called Uravu Labs is producing out of atmospheric air. Okay, and supposedly 17 Mumbai suburban stations are already using this water, to my surprise. So this kind of technology can be, and by the way, I think 70% of Israel right now runs on desalination of water from the sea. So these desalination techniques are also going to be a big thing in the times to come. We have around 7,500 kilometers of ocean coastal area we have available in India. So ocean water technology we need from Israel to convert it to water, drinking water, if at all something has to be done. On the other side, on the ocean side, we control a very small percentage of the global trade right now. 1.3% of global trade we handle. I mean, India's overall share of the merchandise is around 4%, 3%, sorry, 2 to 3% of trade we do of the global trade. But Indian shipbuilding only handles 1.3%, and 8% of the global trade by volume we handle through our ships. But 95% of our whatever trade we do is through ships right now. Then 70% of the fish production is predicted to be through aquaculture in 2030. Aquaculture is that the smaller area in the sea which is blocked off and the fish is cultivated. So it's not an open sea fishing, it's a closed sea fishing. So that is what it is, which is right now around 50%. It will jump to 70%. So that technology of aquaculture is right now a big upcoming technology in terms of businesses, startups. A lot of startups are getting into it. India is also now developing systems right now to go 6,000 meters deep down because seabed is full of rich minerals. So deep sea mining we have not done much at all. In fact, we are just getting ready as a country to exploit that. So we have a policy which covers all the, like a typical policy can cover all the ideal topics under the blue ocean, blue economy, marine fisheries to logistic infrastructure, etc., etc. And the big part of this is also the wind energy. Okay, so India right now consumes around 200 gigawatts of energy. And now out of 200, India is planning to do around 30 gigawatts installation of wind energy, offshore wind energy, in a sense, in the sea wind energy, which is right now almost close to nil. We don't have any offshore wind powers right now. Supposedly, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu shores alone can give 70 gigawatts of potential offshore wind power. So this is one big thing. Now, what is happening is an interesting new term is coming up here, which is called spatial marine planning, which is around 12 nautical miles is what is every country has from the shore. The area is yours. Around 20 kilometers or so is yours. You can use it whichever way you want. In that area, you need to do wind power, you need to do aquaculture, you need to do logistics, ports, everything. And to keep the carbon footprint minimal. So now there are special softwares coming to do that marine planning, space planning, to keep the carbon footprint minimal, but exploit the maximum out of the resource available, where you need to do deep diving, aquaculture and metal extraction, whatever. So those are new technology, new areas emerging in this. Third part is the inland waterways. So India has around 14,000 kilometers of rivers, okay, which are underutilized right now in terms of river waterways. Odisha does to a certain extent. We have probably we have also declared 111 national waterways, but they are pretty right now rudimentary stage, and I think Ganges waterways we had started something. But this is also something which is likely to be big in terms of transportation as the economy grows up. So this is blue economy. So this blue economy as a word will catch up. I mean, as long as even if these words stays with you, I'm sure the red car effect will take place, and you'll start seeing in the news these words more and more after that sometime.
Another interesting thing on the blue economy is the creation of the Nicobar Island, right? So that will be a transshipment port that India is trying to make on the coast of Singapore.
Yeah, of course.
So that could be, it's interesting, they want to compete with Singapore because all the big ships first have to go to Colombo, and that's where, you know, the transshipment.
Yeah, shipping and as well as on the other air traffic side, they are trying to make the regional hub for air traffic as well. So these are large plans, yeah. So if that happens and connected to the India UAE corridor, so these are mega shifts which are likely to happen. So we are on a part of the great trade route, but China has bypassed us and then taken the border port, and so a lot of things are there. But yeah, there is possibilities of still cornering some part of the global trade. The last one is genomics revolution, which is knocking the door. Now genomics is the kind of changes we are seeing in the okay, let me put, instead of me saying what is interesting, is let's put it this way. So this guy who's Siddharth Mukherjee has written a book called The Gene and Intimate History. 3 profoundly destabilizing ideas ricochet through the 20th century, trisecting into 3 equal parts: the atom, the bite, and the gene. Okay, the Industrial Revolution, steam engines, spinning looms, and internal combustion engine, he puts it as atom. Then digital revolution, and the third part is of course the gene, constructed of our DNA, which fashions life itself. So genetics is right now taken a big leap in multiple ways. And why we are discussing genetics is also because of the food shortage we'll be running into by 2030. So 23% more Indians are at the risk of hunger by 2030 due to fall in agriculture production. 16% reduction is in agriculture is predicted right now, output, unless we do something drastic. Smart agriculture is coming up. Around 450 startups are there right now in India about smart agriculture, automatic sensing of the weather, soil analysis, etc. But that fall, and of course we have a very rudimentary supply chain logistics, like not enough cold warehouses and all those kind of things. So in general, a lot of food wastage happens for the developing countries happens at the source. In the developed countries, it happens at the plate. Okay, that's a known fact. So 50% of food they may be wasting at the using and throwing. We waste in the initial stages, harvest is lost because of perishable things and all that. Other bigger problem is the climate change. So because of that, the floods and the extra heat, and we are losing a lot of crops. So these 2-3 things combined, the increased population, climate change, and the rudimentary infrastructure, they will give rise to, let's say, food shortage in the world and in India also. Global food shortage is also predicted. That's one reason why people are looking at the contentious issue of genetically modified food once again. Okay. So GMO is in discussion. India we had GMO was BT cotton, which we had made a lot of money. We are exporting cotton and all that. Why we do genetic modified crop? So that it can sustain the climate changes, consume less water, and be pesticide free, more pest resistant. So all that we want to do using these stronger crops. After 20 years of gap, India has now, I think this year, has approved one mustard seed quality, okay, which is they call it EMH11, which has just been approved by Government of India, and they've said that they've carried out enough tests for allergen composition and analysis, field trials for 5 years, etc., and 28% yield improvement was found. So that's been documented, and government has declared this in Parliament that we are starting this again. Now the promise is that whatever we do, and not this, in the labs right now there are more things. Oil seeds, rice, maize that can tolerate drought stress, beta carotene rich banana, high oleic and low linoleic acid groundnuts. All this research is already on right now in the Indian labs. So there is, while we are consuming things, there is a big work which is happening in the genetic, and the reason behind this is something called CRISPR. This is a genetic engineering technique where earlier what used to happen is that to get a new seed or to get a new kind of crop, you have to insert a new DNA element from external DNA element. Right now they are trying to tweak the same, out of the same DNA strand, they are trying to tweak, and it's like a small grafting technique within the family, which is what maybe the genetic engineers may know better, but this is what I've read about it. And there are a lot of discussions also. The environmentalist lobby has been talking about that earlier the kind of techniques which are available. Pollination may not take place, bees may reject the flowers, all those kind of discussions were there. So this has been, they say that this mustard has been tested for all that. Okay? And there is also, biologically it is beneficial for humans or not. So the whole point is that while we are struggling with the food shortage, this may be one way out technologically to develop better foods and environment resistant or the climate resistant foods and things like this. So that's one side, the technology shifts is happening. And the other side which is happening is pharmacogenic genomics, which they call, which is genetic medicines, okay, precision medicines. So around, there's a data which says, I think some 40% of the medicines we take are actually useless because our body rejects them. So you would have seen the antibiotics you take, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Because our body is not, I mean, we give a generic antibiotics and they are useless after a point. So now the trend is, or the research is towards the precision medicine. That for my genetic makeup, what kind of antibiotics I need, I'll only take that. Now UAE, we were working with Dubai government and they have a genomics lab. They are mapping the entire Emirati population. The genome map is being created, okay, already on. Through which they'll be able to give a very specific medicine related to your body type. So now this genetic mapping, right now India is not doing it at that grander level, but there are a lot of startups which are already in. Map My Genome is already an India startup. Because I was searching for it, this kind of information, my Twitter feed started showing ads from Map My Genome. Okay, and they offer this home collection of saliva and they'll give you your beauty genetic map or your cardiac genetic map, predisposition to certain disease, etc., all that. So then right now, like this one does, so some startups have come up which are doing this detailed genetics, but the idea is going towards precision medicine or personalized medicine. That is the direction we are going towards. And there is, I think, 5-6 big startups which I could find in India already. So this genetics is right now from healthcare point of view and food point of view is a big revolution which is silently underway in India. And I think it will show up in 7, 8, 10 years, big results in terms of how what we do with this new technology. So as much as we are seeing changes in the other automobile and digital domain, digital technology, I think genetics is another big revolution which is just knocking the doors. So that's what I wanted to cover. So 4 or 5 different directions of, although there are more, but these are more data centric. This time I have not done more consumer centric. I just picked up some, and this is also from a probably leftover from, or maybe inspired from the last project we had done, which was with the government. So they wanted more data centric trends, which are measurable, predictable, tangible more. The other one is more towards the consumer mindset, mental models, and sentiment driven, which I have skipped for this time. Thank you.